So the next step is to assemble the Z-axis. The Z-axis composed of the threaded rod, and then what you want to do, you want to make sure that this rod is quite straight. And then you need these two parts. So I ship the knot and the knot housing as separate. Now one of them, the knot sticks out from the other side, and the other, the knot doesn't stick. So it's actually a little bit thicker. And the way it goes is that you take this piece, the Z-axis, and just want to make sure. So this guy sticks to this. So this the hole in the middle is facing up. So this is the top. And then what you do is that you take the thicker piece, you slide it into this with the knot facing down. So it goes like this. And it's also off-centered. So this is the correct order that will go in. Like this. And the reason is that so this sits in the center. When we tighten the screw with the bolt, it will stay in the center. So once that's there, then you take the threaded knot, put this in, and then you put the lock washer, put it on the top, put the second piece, and this one, it doesn't matter which direction you put. So the second piece works as a sort of a wrench. It will hold the second knot. And if you tighten it too much, then it would be impossible to turn. So, and be careful, it's a lock nut. So if you turn it, then it's also difficult to open it. Okay. So you don't want too much pressure, and what the lock nut does is that it will create a little bit of springiness, and it will remove the backlash in the threaded rod. Now I did measure with the lead screw, and I noticed that there's a bit of play still in the lead screw, but when you use the system, you get practically zero backlash. You can't tighten it too much because then the motor won't be able to turn it, but if it is tightened enough, then I'm going to install the coupler. This goes in, goes almost all the way up before it hits the motor. So just like maybe quarter of an inch distance, even less. So first one's tightened, second one's tightened, and then we install this guy. It goes all the way in, and see if you get the view. Yeah. So the bearing, there's a small bearing. This guy, it's also flanged, and it will sit right into the hole. And then once you see that, then the bottom goes all the way inside, and then it will come up and then get stuck to to the coupler. So I just tighten that really good on both sides with 2 screws. So that's 1 and that's 2. Yeah. Alright, now we have a system that looks like this, and then these 2 knots can go all the way down and get tightened. So I don't tighten them yet, but so now you know how it works. Alright. Now the next step is to install the bed back panel, which is this one. So the bed sits on the top, and then the 5-hole matches this guy, and those guys match that guy. Using for the top part, I'll be using 1.5 inch, so 4 of them. Okay. Okay. So for the sides, to install the 2 sides. Alright, then I installed the back part. I thought it's a recording, but it wasn't. So I'm just going to explain what I did. So this part, the back part, it's number 632 half inch, 1.5 inch. There are 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4. For this part to this part, and then there are 2 632 1.5 inch. So they're going from the 2 upper holes, and then with a knot you tighten these 2 together. Number 632 1.5 inch, so 4 of them, and then just the 2 on the top. Then I'm going to install okay, so there's a 5th hole in here that would technically secure this wobble. That's the number 832 half inch. I'm just going to go and put it in. Alright, so now it can move pretty smooth, and there's just a little bit backlash because I didn't tighten these screws, so I'm going to take the wrench out and then turn it for half a turn. And what that does is that I will tighten the knot so that this little backlash will go away. Alright, so I took out this part, the sort of like the wrench that is holding the knot. I turned the knot and put it back. So I'd like to just show it. I kind of prefer not to do that. And maybe it's harder it still can turn, and it's backlash free. Then the 2 bolts here, 2 bolts there, number 832, 5/16 of an inch, or 0.31. So it's a little bigger than 1/4 of an inch. So 4 of them, they go on the lower side. Let's have them installed right now. So that's 1. And this is 2. Check to see if it is aligned. Oh, it is not aligned. Okay. And there's that. One last one. All right. And then number 1024, 1/2 inch. So 2 of them, they go on the back of the bed holder. So you'll see later on why. But the 2 holes on the side. So one goes here. And the other goes here. All right. The next step is to prepare the bed legs. So the one with 2 holes sits on the left. The one with 1 hole sits on the right. So before you install those, first you need to install the M4s. So the sides are M4/16. 2 of them on the side. So they don't go all the way in, just a little bit. 1. There's the second one. So these are M4/16. You could use also longer screws, such as M420, M425. It doesn't matter. And what these do is that they will hold the bed when it is secured in place. Alright. And the one with one hole, because the hole is off center, the longer hole, use an M420 or 25. Especially with M420, and then on the other side, which is closer, use M412. Okay, there's that. Next step is to take a 1/4 by 1 inch length, have a knot, and then a lock washer, and then it will go from under. So this we use to adjust the height of the bed. Then another 1/4 lock washer. And last one. Now don't forget the lock washer, because sometimes I notice there in the print, if you don't use the lock washer, the knot gets loose, and it will change the height of the printer. Okay, so the one with 2 holes on the left, the one with 1 hole sits on the right, and the screws we'll be using is a number 620 1/2 inch. And okay, perhaps a little higher. Okay. Not. So there's 1, and then there's 2. Not. And And then check the amount of stiffness. If there's a bit of play, then you tighten the screw on there from the behind. So what that does is that it will push from the under, and then it will add additional support to the whole thing, making it more solid. Going to repeat the same thing for the other side. 3, 1/2 on the 6 screws, 3 knots. One. Oh. I think I used the wrong length here. Tighten the knot. Tighten the knot. And the last one. and then tighten the back holes so that it is stiff and it doesn't wobble. Okay, there. So this is quite solid. And last thing we want to do is take the two nuts under and tighten them together. So there are two nuts under here, and you want to turn the lower nut so that this is fairly hard, and then use the second nut to tighten the first nut with it. Okay. So maybe I could do this. Okay, so I tightened these two nuts together to in a way that this thing doesn't wobble, and that will finish the frame or chassis of the 3D printer. So now you have a machine that can do XYZ, and the next step is to install the end stops and to install the extruders.